Good morning, REMAX. Just waking up here. It's about 10 a.m. and we're going to go ahead and get into some Instagram today. Let me go ahead and pull up my screen share so you guys can see my screen. Let's see. Let me just go ahead and share that screen. And we will do straight to Instagram.com. So yes, Instagram is on your phone, and we're looking at this on the computer. So you're kind of wondering how exactly are you going to get the gist of this class? Well, what we're going to talk about is how do you get followers on Instagram? Real followers, targeted followers, people live that in the SCV, people that are interested in the Santa Clarita Valley and news about the Santa Clarita Valley and homes available in the Santa Clarita Valley and living and interior design, et cetera, right? All the content we've kind of talked about before. How do we get that target audience on Instagram and following you? And how do we utilize Instagram as a marketing platform for your business? Well, I'm going to teach you. There's actually some I would call them tools, but basically they are programs that go out and will automatically do the work for you, the footwork for you. So why don't we log in on the computer just so I can give you an idea of how posts should look on Instagram. So you can pull up Instagram on your computer as well as on your phone. You cannot post or comment or do anything on here. You can like, actually I'm sorry, you can like and comment, but you cannot post via your web browser on your computer. So this number is high. I mean, you know, 1,900 followers for a REMAX office in Valencia is a lot of followers for an Instagram profile. Just to give you an idea, if you were like your average Joe or just like, let's say your average girl in your early 20s, you're probably going to be like less than this number of followers. And even if you do have this many followers, you don't know them all. They're just random followers that want to follow a girl on Instagram, right? Why do I use that as an example? Because you probably, maybe some of you out there have sons and daughters who are using Instagram, and they're on it all the time. Even they would think that 1,944 followers is a fairly good amount of followers. I'm not saying we're famous, but I'm just saying, you know, it's pretty good for REMAX in Santa Clarita. So how do we get to this number, right? What kind of posts are we going to post? And why don't we just go ahead and go over some main things right now. Right here, these are options when you go onto your phone and you create this account. This is going to be the username. This is going to be, and then in your settings, you can edit all this information. You can add like what kind of main title you want to have, like a sub blurb, and then you get to have one link, so it should go straight to your website, of course. Hit edit profile here, you've got these options, right? You can hit your phone number, username, email. You get to do one website, and you can add a little bio. We are just pushing people from our Instagram to the Twitter for REMAX, because that's kind of where we're trying to get some action. So go back to the main page, the profile. And why don't we take a look at some posts? What are we doing here? So short and sweet on Instagram, guys. We want to keep it to less than 2 sentences, never a period at the end. We just leave it hanging. So because at the end you should usually like have a hashtag or maybe like a link or something. But jumping right into this, hey, hashtag SCV. Tour new home listings in your area on YouTube, and then we have a little link to the YouTube, and then we have another hashtag. This is the biggest hashtag for I would say that I would use this hashtag every time on Instagram as a real estate agent in the Santa Clarita Valley. We're also going to be using all these other hashtags. So we're basically going to hashtag what we're going to call quote unquote spam the audience on Instagram using these hashtags. I prefer to insert my hashtags in a comment after my post. So I post this, then I go back in, I hit leave comment, and I do these comments. So if you want to copy my hashtags, you can do it on the computer. You can't do it on the phone. On your phone, if you try to like hold your thumb down and copy these hashtags, it will not work. But on your computer, if you want to just drag these, you know, right click and copy them, then you could just paste them into your email, send those to yourself, then in your email, copy them, and then post them. You see what I'm saying? Or copy these, email them to yourself, then go into your notepad on your iPhone and paste these hashtags into that notepad or whatever you're using the device into like a notepad program. And then you can always go back and whenever you're posting, right, you post a blurb, you go into your notepad program, you copy all these hashtags and you leave them as a comment. Why do we do that? It looks a lot cleaner. Now I have this section up here that looks all nice, and then I have these kind of hidden down in the comments. Just a couple tips for you. What kind of stuff are we going to be posting on Instagram? Quotes, you know, listings available. Try not to like put too much information in a comment for a listing. Let's leave it short and sweet. For example, you know, track whatever, floor plan 1 with master downstairs, large backyard, golf course views, and then you want to do like a straight bar, which is what I like to use a lot right here, like a straight bar. And then you want to say, visit website for more information. Visit my website for more information, right? And if they go to your thing, your username, the website will be right there. If you want, you can even just insert the website into the blurb itself, like right in here after you're done talking about the listing. Simple and sweet. No addresses, please, on Instagram. And we don't need to put, if you want to put bedrooms and baths and square feet, feel free. But really like a short blurb with like an attractive photo, if the photo is attractive enough to bring attention to the house, is how short you want to keep that. Other things you want to post for Santa Clarita, obviously, like Bridgeport stuff, Magic Mountain. I went to the Staples Center and I saw all these REMAX signs on the billboards out front, so I posted that. You know, personal stuff as well, because this is probably gonna, as a real estate agent, be kind of like a multifaceted Instagram profile. You're gonna have both, like, but you can always do like just your personal profile as opposed to Facebook, right? On Facebook, I always tell you, you are now a public figure. You get to have one Facebook personal profile, one Facebook business page. Do not create multiple Facebooks. I've mentioned that before, right? Instagram is a different story. Why? Because you can be almost unsearchable, really. If you want to create a username and then never put in your full name, like no one's going to find you. If you do, you know, I don't know what you want to do. But if you come up with some username that only your friends know about, then that's fine. But there are a lot of friends of yours that probably end up being clients, et cetera, right? Unless they're close friends. So yes, you can have 2 Instagram profiles, one for business, one for personal use if you'd like. Business would be all SCV and homes listings, maybe even like I'm having an open house this weekend, like you write over the picture, which we will talk about shortly. Okay, apps that you need to have on your phone for Instagram. I'm going to talk strictly to the people that have an iPhone. If you're lucky enough and you search on your Android device and these apps come up, then, you know, good for you. So we go over app for iPhone. This is a must-have, guys. So it looks like this. You can search it on your phone. What it does, it'll add text and artwork to your photos right on your phone. So easy. You guys have no idea. Because all you do is like, it'll have a little wheel on the right-hand side right here. You switch to new. You open the picture that you want to have. Let's say you email yourself a picture, save it on your phone. Then you open it in this app and you add, you know, open house this Thursday. And then you have like a link to your site that will like tell them like where the open house is. Or if you want to like add where the address is, you know, feel free for that, I guess. But this is key over. It does have some in-app purchases, but it's like super cheap, $1, and you get a bunch of fonts, and you could add logos over it. If you want to add like a logo that you have maybe for your team over the photo, $2. So super, super great app for adding some text on top of pictures. I know that other people talk about Canva, et cetera, but sometimes we're on the go, you're on your phone, you got an open house, you want to get up, maybe you don't want to be on your computer. I just prefer, like, if there's anything Instagram related, like I'm doing it on my phone. So that's going to be the app for adding photos. So let's talk about the second app. Let me pull it up real quick on my phone. It is called Crop VS. So let's see, search Crop VS. You can pull something up for that. We'll just Google it. We'll just Google it. Crop VS app. Bam. Crop Video Square free. Free, quote unquote free, right? In-app purchases right here. Top in-app purchases. You will need to probably get rid of the watermark is my main thing. But I just want to double check this is the right video one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, so description color. Okay, crop the best position of your video with Crop Video Square. Easy and quick to crop video or a photo into a square. Why are we doing it into a square? Instagram is always a square photo, right? So let's say you have a virtual tour on your YouTube, or however you want to go onto your. Let's say you have Tour Factory, and you have your videos in there. You want to download the video for the listing, and then you want to save it into. You want to email it to yourself, and then save the video on your phone. That's how you do it, okay? So you download the video, you email yourself the video, and then on your mail on your phone, you hold your thumb down, you know, and then you save the video that way. Or there are links on the bottom of the phone. You hit it and it'll pop up. You hit save video, right? Then you have the video on your phone. And now the problem is that that video is too wide to post on Instagram. You're going to have a whole cut out virtual tour. So this is what this app is for. You go into here, you hit open, it'll pop the video into this square, and then you can adjust the size of the video accordingly, and so it will fit into the screen well. Now, if you want to do the full widescreen, right? Like let's say it's widescreen like this size. It doesn't quite fill this screen. Well, this top area here and this bottom area here, leave them white. Not black, not purple, not any of these kind of beige-ish colors, right? You want, if there's a top and bottom on your video or picture, because you can also crop photos as well if they're widescreen, you want to leave them white. And the reason for that is on Instagram, in between photos, if you're looking on your phone, it'll be above white and below white. You have a long, let's imagine that this is like the phone screen, right? Everything in here is white. So if you leave all the areas white in between, it'll look much cleaner. So now we know how to crop video. We know how to crop photo. We also know how to do hashtags in a comment properly. And we know how to add a bunch of hashtags at the end so we can get as much exposure as possible, right? So like I post this picture, I write this comment, I do all these hashtags. Why do I do all these hashtags? Because the second I click on luxury living hashtag, it'll pop up within that. Or if I hit Santa Clarita, right? Hashtag Santa Clarita. This is anyone else who's hashtag Santa Clarita. And your photo will also show up in there. And the reason for that is you will get people will see what you're showing. So if you want people to, know that you have a new listing, it'll show up under all these categories. Or if you want people to start following you because you're posting a bunch of houses or interior design tips, you're going to get way more exposure for this one post if you do all these hashtags in a comment. Yes, you can do all the hashtags in here if you really wanted to. Just as a last note on that. All right, so let's talk about really how do we get followers and likes on Instagram? Well, here's the big trick. Before we even start talking about this, I just want to note how careful you need to be when you're using this, because you can really embarrass yourself if you utilize this tool incorrectly. And there are a lot of settings on here. I am going to actually just fairly quickly roll through these settings, and if you want to rewatch this video over and over on how to do this properly, that's probably going to be the best bet. So I'm going to go ahead and log in real quick. Let's see. Why don't we use a gym? I have a gym, right, that I'm doing social media for. We're going to go ahead and click on that. So the program we're using is called Instagress. You create an account, and then you have a dashboard, and you have to pay for this, right? So for 3 days, it's $1.99, 10 days, $4.99, 30 days, $9.99. What does this program do? It goes out and it will automatically like pictures and automatically follow people. Like pictures, follow people based on whatever hashtags you input in this tag area, right? Tags. Or based on usernames. So it'll go out and automatically like all this person's usernames. I mean, all this person's followers. If they've had a bunch of followers and you want their followers, it'll follow all them. And all of this is just kind of hoping that people are going to follow you back. So first, you need to have a bunch of pictures on your Instagram, maybe like 20 or 30 to even like begin using Instagress. Maybe even like 40, preferably. So just get on there, start posting like 10 a day. And then after about a week, maybe get in here and start using Instagress. So things that we need to be careful of. Yes, this program can possibly lock your account. Highly unlikely, but you have to use it carefully or it will lock or maybe even remove your Instagram account. So say you put a bunch of work into it and then you start using this, there's a chance, there's just a risk factor there. But, you know, I'm going to teach you how to use this carefully. Never use comments. Number one, never use comments. We're always doing likes, follows, or unfollows. If we want to let's say we followed a bunch of people, we're going to unfollow people who haven't followed us back. That's why we do that. So likes and follows to start. Scroll down, activity speed fast. Media source, tags. That is the hashtags we put in here. So this means what am I going to go out and like and what am I going to go out and follow? Tags. Ignore that one. Ignore the new media only. Minimum likes filter. We can keep it fairly low. That just means it's only going to go out and like and follow. It's only going to go out and like a picture that has at least 10 likes. And it's not going to go out and like a picture that has more than 150. Why are we not going to go out and like a picture that has more than, let's say, I don't know, for you guys, maybe like 250, 300 or something? You can just stick at 150. Play around with this. Just go with 150. It's because someone that has more than 150 likes per picture. Why don't we say 200? 200. Someone that has more than 200 likes per picture is not going to be like really excited that you like their picture. And how does that benefit you? It doesn't, because you don't get them as a follower back. And that's our main goal here, is to get more followers. Next, don't comment on the same users. Well, we're not using comment ever. So I'm just going to repeat that. Never use comments. Why? Because I don't want to say like nice pic to like, you know, a very provocative picture of someone that they've decided to post, because then you're going to look a little foolish. Follow source is going to be media source, or you can do followers of usernames or followings of usernames. That is kind of what I just talked about right here, usernames. So if I wanted to go out and like and follow followers of House of Fitness, that's what I would do. But we're doing media source, just strictly media source. Do not follow the same users. Correct. I don't want to go out, follow a bunch of people, then unfollow people, and then refollow them again. That would be annoying for the person that we are targeting, right? Don't follow private users. Really not something that we need to worry about. Unfollow source Instagram. So if I'm going to go ahead and go to unfollow a bunch of people that I've followed, then I want it to be just the people I've followed through this program. If I want to, because I don't want to unfollow like my friends and stuff, right? So it's just people that Instagram has followed. And then I also want to unfollow anyone who doesn't follow me. Correct. That's the type of unfollowing we're doing. So when you get in here and you have this all set up like this, and you have it on follow, so this is the way it should look, right? And you've got hashtags in here. If you want to copy my hashtags, please feel free. Go into REMAX's site. You grab all these hashtags. You would just hit right click, copy. You would go back into Instagram. You would hit add right here. You would paste them into here. Okay. And then you would hit start. And it would just basically start doing all the settings that you set into it. So main things we want to watch out for on here. If you bought like 30 days and you leave this on follow and then you come back and check your Instagram account later, number one, it'll probably be blocked because you should not be doing that much following. Instagram will catch on to you. Number two, you're going to be have like 40 posts and be following like 10,000 people and only have maybe like a few thousand followers, which is going to like, your account is going to just look obviously very spammy or like automatic or like a bot because you're following so many people and you don't have any followers back really. So that's why we want to just keep these numbers super close, pretty close to kind of like what we've got here, right? Like a fairly okay number of posts, fairly high maybe for like what we're doing. Our followers is always higher than our following, right? It's maybe not in the beginning. Let's say you get up to 1,000 followers and you're following like 1,500 people. I would go ahead, go back into Instagram, hit stop. Then I would go into unfollow, and then you can leave likes on while you're unfollowing, keep liking stuff, and then hit start. And then it's going to go ahead and start bringing this number back down until like, you know, it's at about 800 and you're following 1,000, or you have 1,000 followers. So that's kind of a little trick of the trade. Instagram. Then we talked about the over app for iPhone. Bring that up one more time. This guy, and then we talked about Crop VS app for cropping video and images. This is great. And then one last one that I actually really like as well for cropping pictures is PhotoGrid. You'll run into a lot of like collage apps that really are not that great. PhotoGrid, bam, this guy right here. This is the one. This is just super easy. You're just gonna click on grid here when you're on your phone. You pop in the pictures you want, and it makes it super clean, super easy, super quick. Go ahead and hit stop on this guy. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be mainly it. Let's. What I would like to give you as a couple last tips is just to remind you to grab these hashtags off of the REMAX SCV Instagram and follow us if you're not following us. I would hope, and then go to Instagram. You just paste them in here, and those are the things that you're going to follow and like, right? And you should be on this while you're using Instagram. You should be on it every day. Okay, because you will get into some trouble, into kind of like a messy profile if you don't do this correctly. So you're logging on to Instagram like in the morning to set it one way. You're logging on to Instagram at night to set it to unfollow. Follow in the morning, unfollow at night. Follow in the morning, unfollow at night. Until you're fairly comfortable at a number that, you know, is good for you, and you're, you know, getting like a high like count per picture, 112, right? 113. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for that. That's going to be it for Instagram. I told you guys it was going to be a short class, but there's a high learning curve for this one, and you're going to have to mess around with it a lot on your phone. And Instagram also works great in your Safari on your phone or in your browser on your phone. And don't forget to download all these apps over Crop Video and PhotoGrid. And if you guys have any questions about Instagram beyond what I've talked about on here, make sure you rewatch the video one more time in case you've missed anything, which I will have up in a couple of days. And I believe that they've got some tips on Instagram within here as well. And yeah, so thank you everyone for joining this morning, and I will see you next week.